But look at that. The Minnesota Vikings they're contenders now over in the NFC. With all of the movement that's happened over in the AFC, the Minnesota Vikings have quite the chance here. I mean, if you looked at them on paper right now, the Green Bay Packers have no weapons. So you might have a window open here.
I would argue that as of right now, the gap between the two has closed drastically. I like the Za'Darius Smith ad, but I want a little assurance for that. I don't know how much I love him being a hand-in-the-dirt 4-3 end. So to me, that's still a need. Mm-hmm. They might have to move him around and see where we can do things. I like where Minnesota's at. They draft superiorly well. If they could have another draft like they had last year, I might say they're better than Green Bay right now.
Well, they have the number 12 overall pick in this NFL draft, the post-free agency 7-round mock draft for the Minnesota Vikings starts with Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher out of Florida State.
I love this kid, but I love him in a 4-3. I don't want to see him stand up. There's been a lot of talk about he could wind up with one of these 3-4 teams as a pass rush outside linebacker. I don't want to see that. I watched the drills at the Combine. I watched him at Florida State. I want him to be a hand-in-the-dirt, get-after-it kind of guy. This could be insurance for Danielle Hunter, could be insurance for Za'Darius Smith. The way that division's laid out, pass rush is infinitely more important than it's been in the past. This has been one of those players that I've just had mocked to Minnesota for so long. Za'Darius Smith didn't take me off of it. Couple other options there if I was playing devil's advocate to myself. The corner run hasn't really started. They could take Derek Stingley. I'm just not real sure how I would feel about that. There are a slew of guys that you could still have, one of which you could have in the second round. Edge rusher falls off into the ocean. Cornerback, not so much.
Mm-hmm. So with the second pick of the draft in the second round, 46 overall, you got him taking Kaiir Elam, the cornerback out of Florida.
The thing about Kaiir Elam is now he is in that Derek Stingley, Kayvon Thibodeau range of now the hate has gotten to a stupid point. And I don't get it. There are some people that think he'd be a safety. I don't agree with that. The good is really, really good. It's just been inconsistent. The question would be why? And my argument would be, well, because you're playing in the SEC. Right. In Minnesota, you can be a 2, which is what I think he is in this league. He's a very good ball hawk, got super athletic, great body frame. There's a lot of raw. The thing that you have to understand is that there have been times that he has been beaten deep. I feel like people are taking that as who he is. All right, so there were these 2 just god-awful blown coverages, so he sucks. Okay, I could do that with damn near every corner I've ever evaluated, and I feel like for some reason Kaiir Elam is being more harshly judged on it. If this guy falls to the middle of round 2, it's a home run pick. You're going to have to work on the technique a little bit, but other than that, this is, to me, a day 1 starter.
In the third round, at pick 77 overall, I'm adding to the offensive line here with Cole Strange, the interior offensive lineman out of UT Chattanooga.
This is one of my favorite ways to draft. I call this 2-for-1 drafting, because this takes a player that you currently having a spot that I either don't like or he needs somebody to help him make him better. And the player I'm talking about is Garrett Bradbury. I think he's a guard. He has graded poorly as a center. Not pretty much pillar to post since he's been in the league. I think he's better suited as a guard, especially in this system that you're getting ready to bring in, and I think Cole Strange fits nicely as a center here. That would give you a good young nucleus on your line where, if I'm not mistaken, the oldest of the 5 is Brian O'Neill, who's 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you what you need to keep this running game at the level that it's at. Keep Kirk Cousins clean. You've added the pass rush. You've added the corner. Now, yeah, you may have to go spend some cash on a linebacker. May have to go, play poor, pitiful me with Anthony Barr. I don't know. Linebacker is kind of beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think these three needs are bigger than linebacker is for the Minnesota Vikings.
Speaking of that linebacker, they'll start off the 5th round with that. No 4th-round pick for the Minnesota Vikings, but they have pick 156 overall in the 5th round before they get 3 picks in the 6th round. And you got them taking a linebacker out of Baylor, Terrell Bernard.
I like the raw. He's a little small, 6'1", 220. Didn't run particularly fast with a 4.65. He plays faster than that. And this is a kid that had over 2,000 snaps in college. So there's a lot of plug and play. I can't tell you exactly where on this defense he would play, but I can tell you he'd play immediately. And that's one of the beauties of this player. The high side may never be there. He kind of reminds me of Josie Jewell that plays for the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Because he's not really big, and the height, weight, speed never jumps off the page, but he just always seems to be there. The thing he lacks, he's not great in coverage. Well, here's why. Because he's small and ended up on tight ends at Baylor, just like every other player on that team. If you watch across these videos, there are multiple Baylor draftable players. I'm going to say they all got annihilated by size because that defense was small and fast. That's not what this guy does. This is a modern NFL linebacker that is fast enough, holds up against the run, good tackler, and you can just slide him into one of these spots. I think he's a will. Some people have seen him as a Mike. I don't see that. I think he's a will linebacker, and I think he could start from day one.
All right, a treasure trove in the 6th round, hopefully for the Minnesota Vikings fans. I'm just wearing the Bears jersey. I'm a Perry fan. That's it. 184 overall, Thomas Booker, defensive tackle out of Stanford.
And this is a player that can play on the outside. He can play on the inside. This is a very versatile, move him all over the formation kind of guy. He's a little big to play on the outside. Doesn't do anything great. Going to be a rotational piece to start with, but there's so much raw that I like here. The biggest knock on him is that he's not the twitchy pass rusher that you're going to hear about. He's also 50 pounds heavier than the vast majority of them. The thing that scares me is he plays drastically smaller than he is. That could be scheme thing. Pac-12 football teams tends to be more spread out. The good of him is that I see the talent. It's just been inconsistent. There's an entire possibility. He was one of the best players on his college team. Stanford's not a very good team at this point. He was too easy to avoid, and I think that was part of it. To me, what I would personally look to do with a guy like Thomas Booker, I want to strengthen you up. You're going to play 20 to 25 snaps your first year or two in the league. And I'm ideally going to have you as the Tomlinson replacement, his last name Harrison Phillips replacement down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he can be that. I'm afraid somebody's going to try to thin him out and put him on the outside. I don't necessarily want that. He can do that, but I don't want to thin him out. I want to keep him about where he is and just groom him and be patient with him.
Another offensive line pick at number 191 overall, Chris Paul, mad handles from Tulsa.
Yes, not nearly as good of a ball handler as the one you're thinking of.
Right.
The biggest problem, virtually every drawback I had with Chris Paul was him playing tackle. He's not a tackle. He is a guard. He's a guard in the NFL. 4'9" at 6'4", 325. Not crazy strong, but all of those dancing bear things that I think he can start as a swing tackle, and you develop him as that jack of all trades, Elgton Jenkins with the Green Bay Packers. Hey, somebody goes down, that's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can do damn near everything. And I think that has a role. That's becoming more of a thing in the modern NFL. A guy like Jamari Sawyer out of Georgia. The reason he's going to go in the 3rd round is because he play every position on the line. I feel kind of the same way about Chris Paul. His ideal is probably at right guard, which if the Garrett Bradbury thing you just want to tap out after this year, he could be your starter in a year. Very talented. I'm not as high on him as many others. Very scheme specific. Much better pass blocker right now than run blocker. But I think he can be developed.
All right, they got back-to-back picks. Here's 192 overall in the 6th round. Marquise Bell, safety from Florida A&M. Tell us about him.
Most of the things I'm going to knock him on are because he's thin. 6'3", 2. I think he weighed at 205 at the combine, and he's not that big.
Mm-hmm.
A year in an NFL strength and conditioning program, and I think this kid's going to be a bad dude. Level of competition. I got to say that about anybody that played at Florida A&M or a smaller school like that. He's the shocking thing about him, he's a very good run defender. I think he can play in the box immediately. I also think he could play linebacker. And that's part of what I'm looking at him with the Minnesota Vikings, is that I think with what he does well, where he's got is that physical tight ends mess with him. Okay, so why would I not just play him on the strong side and send him after ball carriers? And I'm not worried about what you do with the tight end. Mm-hmm. I got guys for that. I got Harrison Smith back behind you. I got people that can do that. This kid's got a nose for the ball. He's hyper athletic. He's a very good candidate for that. Hamza Nasiruddin, Divine Diablo, take a safety, convert him into a linebacker. That's what he strikes me as.
All right.
Right now, more of an athlete than a football player, but a lot of good instincts.
At number 250 overall, 7th round pick here. Why not? Add another running back. Ty Chandler out of North Carolina, he flashed several times this year.
There's a lot of talent there. The question is, how long is it going to take you to get it out of him? How much do you actually need him to do? I am not of the belief that you should ever give a running back second contract, unless it's the just super high-end Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry types. And even then, I'm going 2 or 3 years. So I'm looking at Madison going, you're running right up against that. This could be the Madison replacement. You got it cost controlled for 4 years. I like the raw. I would like him behind this offensive line. I think he fits what Minnesota's going to try to do with Kevin O'Connell. Mm-hmm. Now, does he give you much as a receiver? No, he doesn't. He's a straight line. This is a compliment to Dalvin Cook, not a Dalvin Cook replacement. But you're taking him with, I think, 14 picks left in the draft. Kid shouldn't still be on the board. This is a value pick and a player that could come in and give you something. You got Kenny Nwangwu, that's the special teams ace. That's your 4 running backs for the year.
Yeah.
Madison, Cook, Nwangwu, and Ty Chandler. And I think you would be set up with a very good running back room and safe if anything happens to Dalvin Cook.
Absolutely. It's the 7-round post-free agency mock draft from the Sportsocracy.com. Starting it all off with the Minnesota Vikings with Jermaine Johnson. That could be terrifying. I mean, the pass rush is already going to be terrifying with Za'Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter. You throw him into the mix, and that could be your ultimate replacement for Danielle Hunter whenever the time comes to part ways with him.
Or you could just have a 3-man rotation. That's fucking terrifying.
Indeed. You could. If you don't like the picks, if you like the picks, be sure to leave a comment. You got any questions, Jeremy? Always ready to answer those.
If there's a player you would like to know how they fit with the Minnesota Vikings, I answer all of those every day. Just throw the name in the comments. I'll tell you what I see. If they're a good fit, not a good fit. And if you want to do your own mock draft and pit it against mine, I'll tell you what I think of yours.
Very good. We're all about taking suggestions here in the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
We're always in the Ingalls studio. Low prices, love the savings, and we will see you next time.